Welcome back to In the Trenches, everybody. I'm your host, Will Ortner, and it is time to dive into our draft preview. So first, I want to talk about some of the fun draft storylines. Right now, it seems like the big riser is J.J. McCarthy. Starting at the beginning of the week, his odds to get drafted second overall was 20-1. Last time I looked on a couple different books, J.J. had risen all the way to 8-1. Now, it seems like there's a quarterback every year that falls. This year, it does feel like it might be Drake May, right? Drake May was supposed to be the second overall draft pick in this draft. Shoot, in December, all the way back to the start of the year, it was always Caleb Williams is going to go 1, Drake May is 2, and then everyone else is fighting for third. Now, all of a sudden, it seems like it's a foregone conclusion that Jayden Daniels, he's going to be going second overall to the Washington Commanders. Now, there's a couple people that are saying Drake May might have a shot, but when you have someone as experienced as Todd McShay in making mock drafts and in the NFL draft that comes out and says it's a Jayden Daniels, I'm going to trust Todd McShay on that one. So now, every year there's someone that falls, right? Like last year, it was Will Levis, Aaron Rodgers fell back in the day. I believe Brady Quinn fell back in the day. You have all these different quarterbacks who have fallen when they were supposed to be a top 5, 10, 12 pick. It seems like this year, everyone is setting it up for it to be Drake May or J.J. McCarthy. Because right now, if J.J. doesn't go 2 overall, he's still a long shot, right, at 8-1 odds. If he doesn't go second overall, now you're looking at the Patriots. There's been a ton of smoke from the Patriots for they might move back. They might just draft Drake May because they have Brissett there so Drake can learn underneath Brissett for a year, which is what everyone says he needs. But if he gets that year of learning, then he might be able to take all the steps and reach his true potential. Then J.J. McCarthy starts to slide back. Now, I do have it on good authority that there are a couple teams right around that 10-12 mark that really like him. I mean, Minnesota at 11, that'd be hard to get past the Broncos. They're at 12. Maybe there's a team that moves up. Maybe the Giants don't like their situation with Jones, so they go after McCarthy. All these things being said, it does feel like JJ or Drake May are going to be the quarterbacks that fall or have the possibility of falling. I'm not saying that both of them will fall, but I definitely believe that one of them will fall. So really, it just depends on who do you like more. Do you like the upside and the potential of Drake May, or do you like all the answers? JJ McCarthy is a proven winner. Whenever they ask him questions, he seems to have the correct answer, and all he does is go out and make plays that put his team in the best position to win. That will be a fun storyline to watch. The other fun storyline that we're going to have in this draft is that we could have 3 wide receivers drafted in the top 10, Harrison Jr., Neighbors, and Odunze. All are number 1 talents at wide receiver. Obviously, Marvin Harrison Jr. is the number 1 wide receiver in this class. He's the most pro ready. He didn't even do any of his combine testing. He just came out and said, I'm going to be a top 5 pick probably. So you might as well just let me go and prepare for my season. I'm not even going to try to do any of the combine stuff because it doesn't matter. Worst case scenario, I'm going to be top 10. I feel like 4 is the perfect spot for him with the Cards, but then that's where everything gets fun, right? The Giants, they have a bunch of different ways that they could go. They could go and grab Neighbors here. They could go and grab Odunze. The Bears at 9, they seem like a prime spot for a wide receiver. Maybe they go get whoever is left, and they might not even have to trade up because, well, Odunze, Neighbors, and Harrison Jr., depending on the teams in front of them, I mean, right now it seems like the Falcons might go defense. Titans and Giants, if Giants don't go out and get Neighbors, well, then both of those wide receivers between Neighbors and Odunze are probably going to fall all the way to the Bears. If the Giants do go up and get Neighbors, they don't really have to worry about a team trading up to go get a wide receiver. Most teams, if anything, are going to trade up to go get the next quarterback, the 3rd or 4th quarterback off the board, so they can wait. It feels like this is the perfect draft for all 3 of these wide receivers because there are teams up top in the top 10 that need a wide receiver. And it's also a spot where it makes sense for them to go get a wide receiver. They're not reaching to get a wide receiver when they need a quarterback or when they need offensive line help. It feels like this is the perfect draft for all 3 of those guys to go. I can't wait to see the run that we have on wide receiver. Now, of course, this is near and dear to my heart. It's the In the Trenches podcast for a reason. I'm a former offensive lineman, and this seems to be the greatest group of offensive linemen, specifically offensive tackles, in the last 10 to 15 years. You've got Alt from Notre Dame, Fuaga from OSU, Fashanu from Penn State, Fautanu from UW. That's not even talking about Latham or Mims. You have all these fantastic offensive line talent that they can play either tackle position. They can play right side. They can play left side. Fautanu from UW, he can even bounce in and play guard a little bit. So you have all these different offensive linemen that you can pick different spots where you want to put them. Right now, it feels like the first offensive lineman, barring any trades, that gets taken is probably Alt, probably around that fifth spot with the Chargers. But it wouldn't shock me either if we saw Fuaga from OSU there, because he's a little bit more of a mauler. And you know that Harbaugh, he wants to build this team in his image. What have all of his teams been great at? They've been great at running the football with big, strong, powerful offensive linemen. There's even a couple mock drafts where J.C. Latham, he might not be the best option at that spot. He might not be the most pro-ready, right? Everyone seems to be in consensus that Alt is the best pro-ready offensive lineman, but he fits that Mauler build. And if the Chargers aren't able to get a trade partner, well, then shoot, they might just take him right there. Now, it's not going to be a draft where you see more than 2, maybe 3 offensive linemen taken in the top 10. But this is a draft that's loaded with offensive line talent. And you're going to see a lot of offensive linemen that are going to be future stars in this league. If you haven't had an opportunity, you need to check out the offensive line play. Go look up Jeff Schwartz's comments on some of these guys. Go look up Brandon Thorns. Go look up Duke Manyweather. They have fantastic analysis on these guys where I'm just doing a brief preview. But this offensive line class is loaded. It's not the sexy pick, but it's the big sexy pick, and you're going to want to check out those offensive linemen. The last thing that I want to talk about in this draft is who will make the big trade. Every NFL draft, there's a big trade. Everyone remembers A.J. Brown being sent out of Tennessee to Philly. People remember Hollywood Brown being sent out of Baltimore to go to Arizona. Big trades happen. Sometimes it's teams moving up in the draft to go and make a big splash. Chicago did that to go get Justin Fields. We know that that's going to happen in this draft because there seems to be one big trade every single year. I want to look at 2 teams that have that opportunity, or at least did until about 48 hours ago, right? Minnesota has 2 picks. They have the 11th pick and they have the 23rd. Everyone seems to think that Minnesota is going to be the team that, if there is a chance for them to move up, they will. Now, the question is when you look at this draft order, after the Patriots, is there a true team that you really worry about taking a quarterback? Right now, maybe the Giants would think about taking a quarterback, right? Atlanta's not going to do it at 8. The Titans at 7 are going to do it. The Bears, they're already going to have taken their quarterback at 1. Why would the Jets take a quarterback? There's no reason. Rodgers has already showed that he doesn't love training young and up-and-coming quarterbacks. So at 11, if 1, 2, 3 is Bears, Commanders, Pats, and they take Drake May, Jaden Daniels, and Caleb Williams, obviously not in that order. If those are the QBs that are taken and the Vikings didn't have one of those guys as number 1 on their board, there's no reason for them to move up unless another team tries to jump up and beat them to the punch. So if I'm the Vikings, the only reason I see a trade happening is if they think Jaden Daniels is their number 1, or they think Drake May is their number 1, and by far and away the number 1, and he's going to beat out Penix, he's going to beat out Bo Nix, and he's going to beat out JJ. That is the only reason for them to move up into that spot. Now, there's a conversation to be had if JJ is their number 1 and all of a sudden JJ's in that 2 or 3 spot, which there has been links to him being, linked with the Commanders, linked with the Patriots. That would be another reason for them to want to move up. The problem is if they move up, they have a lot of holes to fill. You're going to have to give up the 11th and the 23rd pick, and you're probably giving up another pick either later on in this draft or in a future draft. Is that a move that you're willing to make for a quarterback? Yes, if he's the franchise quarterback and he's your future, but you better be damn sure that he's your future. So that'll be an interesting team to look at in that spot. The other team, and up until 48 hours ago, I was like dead set they are going to move up. The question is just what spot, is the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos just went and traded for Zach Wilson. Now, here's where the conundrum lies. Zach Wilson is a young-ish quarterback. He's had a couple years, right? But he's not a quarterback that I'd want my young, new rookie quarterback learning under, right? Like in New England, Jacoby Brissett is going to be your starter day one. At least he should be, unless the number one quarterback comes in and absolutely blows him out of the water. That's perfect. Let your rookie quarterback learn under Jacoby Brissett for a year, learn what it's like to be a pro, learn the system, and get that time to get rid of the bad habits that they have, understand how fast the game is, and adjust to being a pro. Do you want your rookie quarterback doing that under Zach Wilson? No, I wouldn't. So then your quarterback, at least that rookie, should probably be starting. Well, if he's starting and he struggles early, you can't go to Wilson. And Wilson can't really teach him from the backup spot on how to be a pro when really he's just a baby himself in his own way, right? And I'm saying that because of his youth, not because of his antics, right? So are they a team that trades up, or do they just sit there? It also feels like there's two quarterbacks that fit that system perfectly. Now, I'm sure they would love to have Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels, Drake May, but it feels like JJ McCarthy or Bo Nix end up in Denver. Like when you just look at how they play the game, they're smart with the football. They don't turn the ball over. They're not always asked to do a lot, but they can. They've got some athleticism, and they win football games. That feels like a Sean Payton quarterback, right? So it feels like they might not even have to trade up or move because those guys are going to come right to them anyways. So maybe it's a third, it's an outside long shot. Maybe this is where the Raiders jump up. You know, they try and go and make a big play. Maybe this is a spot where the Jets move back. So then that allows a team that we aren't even thinking of as being a possible mover and a shaker on draft day jumping up. But right now, when I look at this, there's two, maybe a third team in Las Vegas that can make that big trade that we're all waiting for. I'm excited, boys. I cannot wait. It's going to be a lot of fun for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of this week. Getting to watch the 2024 NFL Draft in Detroit. If you like the video, make sure to subscribe. I'll try and get a breakdown video of day one and day two out next week. Thank you so much, and subscribe.
Oh, look at this run. What a run. Marshawn Lynch still on his feet. Has blockers now. He's dancing his way for the touchdown.